Hello, everyone. A lot to cover tonight. I'm Chris Thomas.
I'm Laura Painter. Thanks so much for joining us on the ABC10 app.
In state matters, tension between President Trump and Governor Gavin Newsom continues overseas at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland.
The governor says he was barred from speaking at an event due to the White House. ABC10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Huh has the details.
We want to have no crime. I know Gavin was here. I used to get along so great with Gavin when I was president. Gavin's a good guy.
This video from C-SPAN showing the moments during President Trump's speech at the World Economic Forum. It comes as Newsom's first speaking event in Davos, Switzerland was abruptly canceled. The fireside chat with Fortune was scheduled for Wednesday morning local time, but Newsom officials say they were informed by officials with USA House that he was barred from speaking because an elected official speaking did not align with afternoon programming. USA House is the official American headquarters for the forum. It's privately run and partnering with the State Department for the first time, per Newsom's office. Political analysts say
a bizarre episode that now has gone from California to Washington to Switzerland.
And looked like the governor got put in the penalty box for his comments.
What's everybody talking about nationally? Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom. And now what's everybody talking about internationally? Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom.
Newsom's office alleges the cancellation came under pressure from the Trump administration, despite the speaking invitation coming directly from Fortune, the official media partner. The White House did not confirm nor deny, simply stating, quote, "No one in Davos knows who third-rate Governor Newsom is or why he is frolicking around Switzerland instead of fixing the many problems he created in California." Newsom's team says the governor was instead offered VIP nightcap reception for off-the-record drinks, which he declined.
It's political theater. Gavin Newsom went there because he knew that there would be a dust-up between him and Donald Trump.
Newsom's office says the governor was going to respond to the president's remarks, which included comments about Newsom. Multiple Trump administration officials spoke at USA House prior, including Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who called Newsom, quote, "economically illiterate," and, quote, "Patrick Bateman meets Sparkling Beach Ken," and mentioned while Newsom was asked to give a speech on his signature policies, he's not speaking. Comments that Newsom's office says were made before they found out about the cancellation. The governor spoke with reporters following Trump's speech.
It was remarkably boring. It was remarkably insignificant, including name-checking people he likes, people he didn't like. So, I was a little disappointed. It was a little nonplussed.
And the day prior, Newsom had scathing comments for European leaders.
People rolling over. I should have brought a bunch of knee pads for all the world leaders. He's a T-Rex. You mate with him or he devours you.
Jenny Huh, ABC 10.
Jenny, thank you. We also want to note other U.S. governors are also attending the forum, including the governors of Michigan, Kentucky, and Oklahoma.
President Trump announced he has, quote, formed the framework of a future deal on Greenland after a meeting with the NATO chief in Switzerland. The comments came just hours after he spoke at the World Economic Forum. In a social media post, he did not share details of the framework, but he said he would not move forward with additional tariffs on European countries that opposed his Greenland plans. During his speech, the president also promised a peaceful approach, saying the U.S. is best positioned to secure Greenland and that doing so would benefit NATO allies in Europe.
Today, a Customs and Border Patrol officer was hurt during an operation in L.A. The Department of Homeland Security said agents were trying to arrest a man, but he tried to get away and hit law enforcement with his vehicle. A federal agent opened fire as the man tried to run away. He was not shot and taken into custody. DHS says the man is an undocumented migrant from El Salvador.
A La Loma Junior High School employee is facing charges for inappropriate behavior with minors. 23-year-old Lawrence Harris, a paraprofessional at the school, was arrested at the school yesterday. Investigators say 3 victims, all minors, have come forward. Harris is facing several charges, including seduction of a minor. Harris is now at the Stanislaus County Jail. No word yet on his arraignment. Modesto Schools sent out this statement to staff and family, saying in part he was removed from campus at La Loma and no longer has access to school or district property. The safety of our students is a responsibility we take seriously. We're taking all appropriate steps to protect our school community, and we are cooperating fully with law enforcement as their investigation continues.
2 Loomis businesses were burglarized overnight Monday. The break-ins happened at Mr. Pickles and The Mug on Taylor Road. Placer County Sheriff's officials say no one was inside either business at the time. Windows were smashed at both locations, and investigators say the break-ins happened at the same time. No injuries were reported, and there is no suspect information at this time.
There was 4 people total. They pulled up in a black car, backed up. 2 of the assailants simultaneously broke the window of Mr. Pickles, and then 2 assailants also broke the window at the Muggin Company. Entered the building simultaneously, ransacked my office, and found my safe, which was a very small, pretty cheap safe. So they picked it up and walked out with it.
Deputies say they are still working to determine whether the 2 burglaries are connected.
Tonight, residents from the city of Elk Grove will have an opportunity to voice their opinions in a series of community meetings on the location of a future homeless shelter.
The city says they have a process that prioritizes community input. But as ABC10's Roxana Elias reports, there are mixed feelings about the locations the city's looking at.
The city of Elk Grove is making proactive strides to engage its community in finding an ideal location for a permanent future homeless shelter. On Wednesday, it held its first of a series of community meetings where residents are able to give input.
If there's opportunities and ways to do that, my mindset is to try to help people.
These conversations are happening because the city says the lease at Calvary Christian Center is set to expire in September 2028. So the city hired an architect to begin designing and planning for a permanent shelter location in June of 2025. But they first took a survey from about 655 residents who responded with their priorities.
They said that the most important thing to them was the shelter's proximity to sensitive uses. So they would prefer it to be further away from schools, parks, homes, and other community uses.
Sarah Bontrager is the Housing and Public Services Manager for the city of Elk Grove. She says after evaluating more than 130 potential sites, the city narrowed its search for a shelter to 3 prospective locations. They include East Stockton Boulevard, Survey Road and East Stockton Boulevard, or Dwight Road north of Laguna Boulevard. But William Hooks, who is attending the meeting, says he lives in the Laguna area and that is just too close for his comfort.
I just believe by bringing in more people that are on, I believe to be on drugs, and they could be on hardship, but also I just truly believe that a lot of them are on drugs that are not helping themselves, would put the community in danger, specifically in that area.
But Sarah Bontrager says part of the benefit of the shelter is not only to the guest, but the entire community.
In the last year of our shelter operations, we saw a 65% reduction in encampments in our community. So that's a lot of folks that we've taken off the streets and put into the shelter.
They're hoping the shelter will open in late 2028. That's around the same time the lease expires at the current building. There is another meeting happening tonight from 6 until 7:45, and then 2 others are planned for next Tuesday.
Coming up, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments today about whether President Trump can fire the governor of the Federal Reserve. What decision seems likely?
And later, the possibility of a 100-month auto loan. What financial experts are saying.
Lots of clouds streaming in for today. Weather system brewing just off the coast. Will this be the first splash of rain we've seen in over 15 days?
A critical argument before the U.S. Supreme Court today could impact financial markets around the world. The justices are weighing whether the president has the power to fire a member of the Federal Reserve over allegations of gross negligence without any hearing to dispute the claims.
Yeah, Congress designed the Fed to be insulated from White House control in the interests of financial stability and global credibility. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has more on the case from Washington.
The Supreme Court hearing arguments in a critical case over the president's power to fire leaders of the nation's central bank. President Trump moved last year to fire Lisa Cook, a Biden appointee to the Federal Reserve Board. Cook's term runs 14 years, but the administration argues the president was within his rights to fire her under the for-cause standard found in the Federal Reserve Act. Officials point to 2 mortgage applications Cook filed in 2021, claiming each property was to be her primary residence.
The American people should not have their interest rates determined by someone who was, at best, grossly negligent in obtaining favorable interest rates for herself.
The Justice Department has opened a criminal investigation, but Cook firmly denies any wrongdoing. Her lawyer says it was an inadvertent mistake, saying she told her bank that one of the properties was a vacation home. At the oral argument, both conservative and liberal justices indicated they're skeptical of the administration's position that the president should have complete discretion to determine what constitutes cause for a Fed governor's firing.
The president need not provide any notice. The president need not provide any hearing. The president just really has to say, Ms. Cook, you're fired.
I mean, that would weaken, if not shatter, the independence of the Federal Reserve that we just discussed.
Cook watching from the court's gallery. In a statement today, Cook said the case is about whether the Federal Reserve will set key interest rates guided by evidence and independent judgment, or will succumb to political pressure. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, also now facing a criminal probe for his testimony about the Fed's ongoing renovation, also attended today's argument in person. Powell has claimed he's become a target for a criminal investigation because the Fed hasn't brought down interest rates as quickly as the president has demanded. He denies any wrongdoing. Powell's term as Fed chair is set to expire in May. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Stephen, thank you. So what next? A decision on the case is expected by the end of June.
Next at 5:30, financial experts say more people are choosing 100-month auto loans. What you need to know before heading to the dealership.
And later, the Oscars is just around the corner. Find out when and where the nominations will drop. Okay, let's take a live look at Highway 5 in El Camino as people make their way home from work and school for the day. I want to bring in Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods because I understand you're tracking some finally better driving conditions when it comes to the fog and things like that, right?
That'll be a big relief because we've been battling a lot of conditions. That fog has been really tough these past, couple weeks now?
Right, and dangerous too. It's been amazing when you look at some of the video that it looks like you're heading into a bank of clouds trying to drive on the highways. Clouds, but no rain is first and foremost what we're tracking. Next up is going to be those breezy north winds, and that's what Chris was alluding to, those changes coming into the forecast. Plus, third up on the list, tracking possible showers as well. So a lot to talk about here. Hazy skies outside right now, kind of a mix of those thin clouds as we're heading out for the evening hours. 40s for Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, and Marysville. Kings back in action for tonight as well. So our light the beam forecast, we're in the 50s straight on through, taking on the Toronto Raptors. That tip-off is at 7 p.m. If you're headed out to Golden, one should be a pretty pleasant forecast. We won't have to carry those umbrellas at least. Highs for today, upper 40s to near 50 throughout the valley, 60s for the foothills, and 40s up top for this year. Our temperature trend, we've been hovering well below average since the beginning of the week. Monday, that holiday, MLK walks were pretty frigid with some patchy, dense fog, I should say, out there. Average high is 56 degrees. We've been below that. This past weekend, we actually saw some breaks in the cloud cover and expect much of the same heading into this weekend. So tonight we're going to see once again the fog forming primarily on the east side of the valley. That'll be along Highway 99. It erodes pretty quickly here, just some light periods of some limited visibility, and then we're tracking that bigger weather system off the coast. That's going to provide us with the cloud cover, but it breaks apart pretty quickly. And once it sets up on the east side of the state, we pick up these northwest winds. So that happens on Friday, continues through Saturday, helping to erode a lot of the low cloudiness that we've been dealing with. The low not bringing us much in the way of precipitation. It moves through Southern California, and here's the setup. Low pressure system dives down into the Great Basin. Here's the high pressure ridge setup across the Pacific, and with that we get that opposition of those two pressure systems, and that will give us the northwest winds. Highs for tomorrow close to 50 up top for the Sierra, with 50s to near 60 throughout the foothills. Highs across the coast are in the 50s and low 60s, and we'll carry that inland. So again, we're going to see a little bit of moderation coming with our forecast. The clouds kind of thinning out for tomorrow afternoon. We'll still see areas of patchy fog both Thursday and Friday, but Saturday's the day we really start to scour out a lot of the low cloudiness. Highs will drop to the 30s by Saturday. We're right back to the 40s by Sunday for the high country. 50s and 60s will stay status quo for the foothills, with the coastal communities seeing basically a mix of sun and clouds, but again, sunshine throughout much of the basin. Highs are going to be in the 60s for the weekend for the coast. So here's a look at our 3-day forecast. I put the wind icon on there for Saturday because we are going to see it quite gusty from time to time, but at least we'll see some sunshine in there, tracking the potential for rain coming deep into the forecast by next weekend.
And tonight's Dollars and Cents. Sticker shock is everywhere, especially at the car dealership. New research shows car prices are reaching record highs, forcing many car owners to consider longer loan terms, some reaching 100 months.
Part of what's going on is cars are just getting more expensive.
Struggling with sticker shock, new car owners are now facing record prices, just as the overall cost of living is feeling harder than ever. Car payments now average $750 a month, according to credit reporting bureau Experian. Kelley Blue Book reports new car prices are holding steady at an average $50,000.
Manufacturing costs have risen. There's also just sort of a preference for bigger, more expensive cars.
A typical car loan has ranged from 48 months to 60 months, but Experian says a third of car buyers last year took out loans that stretched 72 months or 6 years, while others are going even further, pushing their car loans to 100 months or more than 8 years.
What do you think these type of loans say about where we are financially now?
Yeah, it's a little bit concerning, right? Because I think you kind of have sort of two completely different things going on. On the one hand, there's sort of a upper income spectrum who pretty much just shrug their shoulders. But, for people who are a little bit on the lower end or even the middle end of the income spectrum, I think we're seeing a lot about just how thin they are stretched.
This all comes as more Americans are falling behind on their car payments, while the price of new cars and trucks increased 33% since 2020, according to the Wall Street Journal. Derek Stimmel, economics professor at UC Davis, wants you to keep in mind a long loan term means you're likely going to pay more in interest over time compared to a shorter loan term.
Focus a little bit more on the out-the-door price of the car rather than the monthly payment, because that's really going to be the thing that ultimately, is going to have a big influence on your ability to afford the car or not.
And have a plan for financing your car before going to the dealership.
Are the old days of $300, $200 car payments gone?
I would say, yeah, they're probably gone, unless somebody really wants to put like a huge down payment on a car.
One reason to avoid longer-term car loans is the fact that cars depreciate in value very fast, and Stimmel suggests cutting down on add-ons or a fancy trim to keep down the overall sticker price of the car. Remember, your money questions have answers. Email me at lpainter@abc10.com and stream more of our Dollars and Cents coverage on the free ABC10 app.
Well, coming up, the Oscars just around the corner, but who's nominated? Find out when and where those names will be announced.
Our free ABC10 Plus TV streaming app has so much to offer. Get your news live and on demand 24/7, so you can watch the news when you want. There's breaking news, extended forecast, and so much more. We have everything you need to get through your day and ready for the weekend. We've got you covered on money-saving tips, travel, entertainment, and sports. Download the free ABC10 Plus app on your smart TV and popular streaming devices like Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and more. ABC10. We stand for you 24/7.
Coming up new tonight on the news at 6. Housing, food, and energy costs continue to rise, but one source of relief is gas prices. Coming up at 6, why prices are plummeting and how much consumers will be saving a year.
But first, the Oscar nominations will be announced tomorrow morning. Actors Danielle Brooks and Louis Pullman will reveal the names of the 2026 nominees in all 24 categories live from LA starting at 5:30 a.m. Now, ABC10 will have coverage on ABC10 Morning News. You know Mark S. Allen will be there with all the new updates. And of course, ABC10 is your home for the Oscars. The ceremony is Sunday, March 15th. Okay, so now we just got to do our homework, right? We got to figure out what are the nominations, and then you got to go and watch the movies.
Yep, I always try to do that. It is hard to keep up. I've seen maybe a few, but I feel like I'm always a few years late to catch up with them.
I know.
And the movies are getting a little bit longer now. I recently saw Marty Supreme. It's 2.5 hours.
Yes.
Literally 2.5 hours. Not just the credits and stuff.
I saw Sinners. and I forget how long that one was. But the only good thing about that one was it may have been a little longer, but it didn't feel long. You know, sometimes you sit there.
All right, we'll see.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Watch us anytime right here on the ABC10 app.